The preseason of NFL just ended, and we got some storylines that we got to talk about. And yes, we're going to talk about Shedeur. You already know what time it is. Not to mention, it's the most wonderful time of the year. College football is about to be back, and I am on the attack giving you primetime analysis of all of the big matchups that we're going to have this week. I cannot wait to see it. But ladies and gentlemen, let's lock in because I want to welcome you to the most electrifying part of your week with me, Niles Niseem, your host with the most. So when you see me on screen, it's time for me to take you from pillar to post on all the numbers in sports. Welcome to the numbers with Niles Niseem. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of the Numbers with Niles Niseem. With me, Niles Niseem. I'm so glad to be with you guys today. We got a lot to dive into, and I'm going to go straight head first into the deep end because we got to talk about week 3 of the preseason with NFL, and you already know where we're going to start. In the land, in Cleveland with those doggone Browns. Ladies and gentlemen, this whole preseason and offseason has been about the 2 quarterback race of Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. Who's better? Who should be QB2? Now, I truly do believe that, yes, Shedeur Sanders definitely got snubbed. And to getting taken in the 5th round was still a federal crime, if you ask me. Something is afoot, and it still don't smell right all these months later. But after seeing the tape on them in preseason, I think we have a kind of a conclusive answer on who should be QB number 2. Listen, let's take a look at the numbers, okay? The preseason stats go as follows. It wasn't bad for both of them, but we had some highlights and some lowlights. And we had some high games that really showed the talent and the skill of both of these quarterbacks. Now, the first thing we'll talk about is Dillon Gabriel. He had 272 total yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The highlight actually came in the finale where he went 12 of 19, throwing for 129 yards with 1 touchdown and with a passer rating of 100.5. I mean, he was efficient in the pocket. He was poised. Yes, there were some errant throws here and there. But the type of style of quarterback he played seemed like an NFL-ready kind of quarterback. I mean, he was doing what he needed to do in the pocket. His pocket presence was there. I mean, I can't deny. We kind of forget that this man was one of the most prolific passers in college back at Oregon. And it kind of showed this weekend. Yes, there were some things that could have been better. I'm not saying he had some all-world performances, but as far as NFL scouting and knowing what NFL scouts look for in a quarterback, I mean, he did show a little more of those glimpses. But then Shedeur wasn't a slouch either. I mean, when we look at his stats for the preseason, he had 152 yards on 2 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. Now, his debut was absolutely electric, going 14 of 23 for 138 yards with 2 touchdowns. But the finale, he struggled a bit. NFL scouts and NFL analysts were talking about some of his pocket awareness, how he stepped a little too far out of the pocket, getting ready to throw his throws. There was some unshakiness there. It didn't seem like he was staying poised and being centered in the pocket. Listen, I think it comes down to this. At the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders, I believe, is the better talent. I believe he's the more electrifying talent. I believe his upside is incredible, and it's way higher than Dillon Gabriel's. However, though, if we're talking about what NFL scouts want, what they're looking at, like I said before, you might have to put Dillon Gabriel, DG at QB2. It's just simple. You start Flacco. I don't know why we're starting Flacco in 2025. Insane to me, but you're going to have to put DG at number 2 right now. I don't think this is going to be a permanent arrangement. Now, Ryan Clark did say he doesn't even think that Shedeur Sanders is even going to be able to start for the Cleveland Browns. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but maybe not, and I hope he does get traded or goes somewhere else. The one thing that frustrates me about this situation is that Shedeur is not in the position to actually have the actual reps that he needs to get better and develop. That's the problem with this multiple 5-6 man deep quarterback room that Cleveland has with Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco and all these other people. It's not allowing Shedeur to develop, and that's a disservice to him. Let that man go. Please put him in a position for him to succeed because I'm rooting for the guy. And I'm rooting for Dillon Gabriel too. He didn't ask to be put in this situation. And the way he's handling it, minus the comments he said the other week, I got to respect him. So those are my thoughts on that. We're going to see how this develops. But you know what? The only QB is not, I'm sorry, not the only QB, but that's not the only QB story coming out of preseason that I want to talk about. Listen, I have to apologize. I'm a Giants and a Falcons fan. Don't ask me how on both of those, even though they're in the same conference as well. But it doesn't matter because it's my show and I do what I want. If you have a problem, come see me about it. But I am a Giants and Falcons fan, and I have to apologize to Jackson Dart. I do. I wanted Shedeur Sanders so bad. I needed him on my team because I thought our offensive line was horrid, and I thought Jackson Dart's ability would be predicated on people having to protect him. But I got to say, He's a G. He's a certified G. Certified G. He's a certified hood classic. I love Jackson Dart. I love what I saw. Let's look at the numbers. He had 372 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, going 3-0 in the postseason. Guys, what can we say? I mean, he's showing you everything he needs to show you. And you know what's crazy? I think the best game he had was his last game. Because you might not see that based on the numbers, but if you look at the throw, that boy was slinging that football. I mean, from left to right, right to left. He was hitting balls off of the receiver's head. Pause. He was putting work. I mean, I'm telling you, those throws were so accurate. They were falling through receivers' hands, coming off the top of their helmet. It's not his fault that the receivers couldn't make a play. It's not the receivers' fault too. It's preseason. We're finding our rhythm and stride. But ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Dart is that dude. I got to give it to him. He is poised in the pocket. He can throw that ball, and he is not overrated. He was everything that they said he would be out of Ole Miss. I can't deny that. He really is. Now, the question is, what do we do with him? He is going to be QB3 right now. I mean, you're going to have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston definitely at your QB1 and 2. It just makes sense. But he's in the perfect QB position, I should say, because he's around 2 people that are great leaders. He's going to learn so much from both of these quarterbacks so that when it's his time, not only will he be a good leader on the field, but off the field, he'll know how to ingratiate himself with his teammates. He'll know how to be able to make the proper reads. I think he's in one of the best positions that a quarterback can be in right now. Being behind Russ and Jameis, the man that Jackson can become. Listen, if you listen, Jackson, which you're probably not, I'm sorry. I was too hard on you. You are an incredible quarterback, and I can't wait to see what you're doing in the future. Now, I don't mean to go back to the family drama, but I got to go back to the Sanders, okay? Because Shiloh. We all know that Shiloh got waived recently this week from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's not to say that he won't get a spot because he couldn't make the practice squad, but we all know why. It's about that punch that happened earlier this week in preseason against the Bills tight end. And listen, what are we doing? I'm not out here to sit here and cast aspersions or judge because I understand it's football. It's a battlefield. It's the heat of the moment. So at the end of the day, I can't get mad at Shiloh because I understand that it gets physical, but I need him to understand that his name has value. It has weight. People are gunning for him because of his name. So he has to understand that he can't just do anything that everybody else does. Well, it's not fair. They can do it and they won't get as much coverage. They're not a Sanders. Okay. You are poised for greatness and you can make things happen. Shiloh, you're probably not listening to this, but understand I'm rooting for you. I want you to make a team. I believe that you are an NFL prospect. From everything we heard about you in preseason training camp, you were that guy. You were that dude. And I want you to continue to be that dude on Sundays in front of thousands of people in the stadium and millions of people watching around the world. I pray it really does work out with you. And I just hope you understand that you can't do everything that everybody else does because you aren't meant to be like everybody else. And sometimes when you make a mistake, it can be magnified. But I do believe you can make your way back to the league and you can figure it out and make it happen. I'm confident in this. But we have to also extend grace too. All right. My thing is this. We know he's a Sanders. And even though what I just said to him is true, we have to also take in consideration players get in scuffles all the time. Players do what they have to do. It's football. It's a physical sport. I'm not saying it's acceptable, but it doesn't have to be magnified just because of somebody's last name. Okay? But I'm hoping that Shiloh gets back on track. I can't wait to see what he does. I know this is just a stepping stone, okay, for him. So let's go ahead and lock in. Finally, it is college football week. I am about to blitz run through the top matchups that we have. And the first matchup we have to talk about is number 1, Texas versus number 3, Ohio State. The story is Arch Manning as good as we thought he is? I mean, can he do what he did last season against middle-of-the-pack competition, against those heat-seeking missiles that they have on Ohio State's D-line? It's the best defense in the country, or one of the best defenses in the country. That's not arguable, okay? We need to see what Arch can do. If he can do it against Ohio State, ladies and gentlemen, we have a star on our hand. We have a star on our hand, okay? Now, this is the first time that an AP number 1 is going to come in as an underdog. Texas is the underdog. Do I agree? I don't know. I feel like both these teams are going to put on an absolute stunning performance. We're going to get an instant classic in week 1. And this is when we're talking about Heisman moments, we're already starting off at week 1. It's number 1 versus number 3. We're going to figure out who's the best. And guess what? I'm putting it right now. I think Arch is going to have a great game. I think Arch is going to be as advertised. And if you don't want Arch to be as advertised, you're probably a hater. But I do think Arch is going to be as advertised. But we're speaking about Heisman moments. The next thing we have to talk about is number 4 Clemson and number 9 at LSU. Because if we want to talk about Heisman's moments for one quarterback, we got to talk about 2 because we have 2 Heisman hopefuls in this game. I mean, we got Nussmeier, we got Klubnik. Who's the better team? We got to see who's going to match you. Okay, we have to figure out who's going to break first. Okay, can Clemson impose its defensive will on LSU, or will LSU outpace Clemson on offense? They both have the quarterbacks. They both have the weapons. We already know the play styles between both. It's a battle of the Tigers. You can't miss this matchup. Number 4, number 9. Again, like I said, we're talking about Heisman moments. We're getting them week 1. We want to know who's the best. The best are playing each other right here, right now, for all the marbles. Ladies and gentlemen, it does not get better than this. I'm excited to see. I think right now LSU might cover the spread, but they do have Clemson favored by 4 points. Either way, we'll see. Either way, I do believe that this is going to be a close game. No way this is going to be a shutout in any sense. I believe the best are playing the best right now. I believe that we're going to have a close game. And I do believe we're going to see some Heisman moments in there as well. So I'm excited to see that match. I'm very excited to see that match. It's the battle of the Death Valleys. Who's got the better Death Valley? Who's the better Tiger? This is why we love college football. This is why we love stories like this, okay? Now, finally, the game that is near and dear to my heart. Number 10, Miami, going up against number 6, Notre Dame. On Sunday, Catholics versus convicts. If you know this story, you know how important this means something to me. This means something to me. The story of this entire thing. Is Miami's recruiting class able to make up for everything that they lost last year? Okay, especially at quarterback, because we now have Carson Beck. Listen, I am not a Carson Beck hater. Okay, I don't know if I'm a Carson Beck believer. But after leaving Cam Ward, who I believe is one of the greatest quarterback talents we've seen out of college football, it's hard. We're going to have a different play style. We're going to have to play a little bit differently. But did Mario Cristobal make the requisite adjustments to be able to capitulate to his playing style to make it work for him? Did our defense get better so we can actually stop people so we don't always have to get into a shootout? But the problem is we're up against number 6 Notre Dame and that bad man Marcus Freeman. Who is that dude? He really is that dude. And, he's going to come with the adjustments. I don't know, but I'm never going to pick against Miami here because I bleed orange and green. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on this episode. We got a lot more episodes to come. I'm telling you, there are big things on the way. The numbers with Niles Niseem. Tune in this weekend. Let me know what you thought about the games and the stories. This in the comment section. I love y'all, and we will see you all next week.